Let's shift gears. Let's bring in Alan Nuckman, who we left off with at the end of last week. Alan, we've got more follow through to the rally here. The narrative that I hear is fiscal stimulus expected, but we haven't seen anything yet. So are we getting a little risky here, trading on expectations of politics and politicians to come together?
But I think the market is ready for it, and I think the politicians are ready for a little something to give the market a boost. You've got to remember that's the path of least resistance. Remember when we talked on Friday, I said there was nothing new here, and that's still true in the fact that the trend is still strong. We made a bottom a week and a half ago in the S&P. We bounced, and then we saw some profit taking and obviously some market movement on Friday. But the way the market behaved was very positive. We still see the VIX at a very low level, and we're getting some solid follow-through today to build on that gain, a weekly gain. Who would have thought with what happened last week that we would have a weekly gain in the S&P and the NASDAQ? So that shows how strong and resilient this market is. We can't say that enough.
So, Alan, when you look at this, where do you become convinced? Are you convinced right now that you want to ride equities to back to the highs, or do you want to see breakouts in important technical areas? Where do you stand on that?
Levels in the S&P before. I look at it on a weekly basis. The fact that we held 3,200 was huge. 3,400 is where we're hanging right now. So I think we could make another attempt on the upside. But it's all full steam ahead as far as this market goes. We've got earnings coming out, and again, we've talked about the TINA. There is no other choice here in looking for yield. So I still see a lot of positives. And again, you've got to be selective. But we've talked in the last couple of weeks to how it's been all about Apple to kind of give us a signal. And that was a strong signal. We got a little bit of a pullback last week. That 110 level is now important, whereas before it was 100. So let's see where we go from here. But I'm still very optimistic, as I have been for weeks, months, and probably years.
I like that. All right, so Alan, right now, what are you looking at? I know you've got your eyes on copper, not the commodity, but the miner. You're going to dabble in Freeport after copper got blasted last week? I mean, you got to be an optimist there. That was a pretty alarming sell-off we got in copper.
Do that. They need to flush out before they can move higher. Now, you brought it up last week. You made me look at copper last Friday and have a discussion because it had been straight up. It had been above $3, which psychologically was very important. Had a big unwind and then an important bounce back. And it's important to see how the markets react after a big action. So that was key. So my DAW light went on when you wanted to talk copper. I looked at Freeport McMoran, which has been a straight up stock. Mm-hmm. It's up more than 250% off its lows.
So Alan,
let that sink in. Let that sink in. 250% since March.
Right.
That is more momentum. So we've had a pullback. Now it was about 10% off its highs here with this little bit of a pullback, a $3 drop. This is a good opportunity in a bull trend. So I'm looking with my same old, and in the money option, the $13 call for November. It's $3 in the money, $3.50 in the money. It's going for about $3.75. So our break even on this is about 25 cents higher. So if you look at this market technically, this $3 drop from the top in 2 weeks, some profit taking. If that works according to technical analysis, then a new high would project 2050. This option would double.
So Alan, am I hearing you right that I gave you a trade idea? What the heck is going on here?
At least to look at it, because I knew it had been knocked down, and we played Freeport many times earlier in the spring, but we haven't played it lately because it hasn't taken a break. But again, it's about the strategy as much as the stock. When we talked last Monday, let's remember, play the tape, AMD. What happened there? AMD, we had the in-the-money call. It rallied from 80 to about 85. That option gained 50%. So that's the game here. It's about simple math, making big gains from modest moves, but buying at key levels so you've got the risk reward on your side. Now, we sold half our position in AMD. We'll look to do the same here if this gains 50% and then hold the other half and get more. I'm not looking to get 1,000% return, but anytime you can get a 50% return in three days, I mean, as a trader, you got to take some of those chips.
Okay, so 13 strike is where you're buying deep in the money right now. Let it ride so you get more bang for the buck or the cent or the dime that it moves. Alan, I want a kickback of that trade, all right, since I put you onto copper, okay? You scratch my... No, I'm just kidding.
you could probably find $375 in your pocket, and you could look at that option.
Do the trade.
Anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, that's why we got you here, Alan. Appreciate it, Mr. Nuckman, Chief Market Strategist at Agora Financial. When we come back, from copper to space, we're going to do a big shift in the conversation. Virgin Galactic shares had another big moment last month as they gapped up huge on volume to $20. But they're not the only way to play space in this market, and apparently there's some pretty big space stuff going on this week. Let's take a breath from all the stimulus talk. Check that thing out. What am I even looking at right now?